If you look around you, those white headstones in this national cemetery, 2,273 of them are for Americans who fought in the Korean War. In all, over 37,000 died. Many others were POWs, as Denny mentioned, WIA, and came home. For all of you, this memorial and this day are for you. Our next speaker, it's with great pleasure I introduce Judge Quentin Kopp, former Superior Court Judge, San Mateo County, California State Senator, City and County of San Francisco Supervisor, and now President and Chairman of the Board of the Korean War Memorial Foundation. Judge Kopp.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Everybody assembled here should know that Jerry Parker has been and is the executive director of the foundation, and he has been here since at or about 6:45 hours. And I not only welcome all of you, but I note that many of you are standing. We apologize for the fact that attendance has exceeded our indications. I should like to acknowledge and have you acknowledge some of the other people here whom we have characterized as distinguished guests. We're all distinguished as Americans and as South Koreans. And therefore, I hope you will not take umbrage over the fact that because of the admonition to end this program at some decent hour, I will only be able to acknowledge and ask if each of them will stand for a moment the following. Consul General of the Republic of Korea in San Francisco, Shin Chae-hyun. First Vice President of the Korean War Veterans Association of the United States of America from Washington, D.C., retired Colonel Warren Weedhan. Commanding Officer of the 23rd Marine Regiment, Colonel Paul Konopka. Inspector General of the 23rd Marine Regiment, Lieutenant Colonel George Hazeltine. Members of the San Francisco Board of Supervisors, the Honorable Aaron Peskin, the Honorable Mark Farrell, representatives of the consulates of other nations who were part of the United Nations force, 1950 to 1953, 21 in total, including 18 which sent troops. From Australia, Consul General Chris Oldfield. From Belgium, Consul General Nathalie de Roux Maguire. From Canada, Consul General Brandon Lee. From India, Mr. K. Venkata Ramana. From Luxembourg, Consul General George A. Schmidt. The following members of the Korean War Memorial Foundation Board of Directors: retired Rear Admiral Thomas F. Brown, United States Navy. Retired United States Marine Corps Major General Michael Myatt. Retired United States Coast Guard Lieutenant Commander Arthur W. Curtis. Retired from the United States Merchant Marine Frank Mendez. Chief of Police of the San Francisco Police Department, Tony Chaplin. Members of the Board of Education of the San Francisco Unified School District who have and are spearheading the continued mission of the Korean War Memorial Foundation to administer a lesson plan provided by the Korean War veterans of the United States in the San Francisco high schools, the Honorable Dr. Emily Moraes and the Honorable Jill Wins. And we thank you. President of the Korean War Veterans Association of Canada, Mr. Peter Searson. Our partner, by written contract, by moral obligation, and by a feeling for the greatness of this hallowed land, the Presidio of San Francisco, the relatively new chairwoman of the Presidio Trust Board of Directors, established by an act of Congress, Ms. Paula Collins. Vice Chairman of the Presidio Trust Governing Board, a former Marine, Mr. John Kecker. A gentleman who has been sympathetic in word and in deed throughout this 6-year process since formation of the foundation in 2010, the Acting Executive Director and Chief of Park Development and Operations, Michael Boland. Commander of the American Legion, Department of California, Comrade Gary Leach. Newly elected member of the American Legion National Executive Committee woman, Janet Wilson. August 2016. My dear fellow Americans, you and I convene here this morning for more than a singular purpose and with different memories and education and history. Some of us are of the generation which experienced the Korean War. Some, like the co-founder and secretary of the Korean War Memorial Foundation, John Stevens, served militarily in World War II and then the Korean War. So too did my predecessor as foundation president, former member of Congress, Pete McCloskey. Some are descendants by blood or friendship of Korean War veterans. Some are venerators or students of American and world history and their lessons now. But we are all among the bereaved of those whom we mourn and consider today, those Americans and other nationals who saved South Korea from ruthless communist dictatorships. Contrary to contemporary popular and political culture of disunity, in late June of 1950, there was unity of purpose and prodigious actions under the initiative of Presidents Harry S. Truman and Dwight David Eisenhower, military veterans themselves, who might have subscribed to Thomas Jefferson's June 18, 1813 letter to James Monroe, and I quote, "We must train and classify the whole of our male citizens and make military instruction a regular part of college education." I wonder if those principles could be uttered now. Knowledge must be improved, challenged, and increased. That constitutes the driving inspiration and concept of the Korean War Memorial we dedicate with American spirit and stamina to the dead, the wounded, the prisoners of war, and all those who served, particularly on the Korean Peninsula, 25 June 1950 to 27 July 1953. May God bless their gaudy guts and preserve clearly in memory their historic deeds of replenishing liberty and freedom for generations and generations hereafter. Thank you, America.